a reference as to where they're going, what you would do is you'd pop to the tools option off to the far left there. Once under tools, you're going to see that we actually have a dedicated inventory interface. So if this is brand new to you, this is where you'd go. Make note that like any other part of Alexandria, it does have its own little shortcut. So if you look in the URL bar, or the address bar, it says /inventory. So this is something you could bookmark and save and set to the side for yourselves for later use to make it easier for you to come here and find it. Also, make note, since Alexandria 7 doesn't have a user limit, you could shoot this link out to anyone else who might have time, enlist some kids or other staff members to come help with the inventory so you can knock it out nice and quick. Just send them that link and they can use your login if you want, or you can create them lesser logins that gives them lesser rights. So, all right, and what you're seeing here under our demo is some demonstration initial inventory sessions. These inventory sessions are how you're breaking up your inventory. As you know, normally when you're doing inventory, you might not have the time to do the whole thing all at once, so it's nice to have it be in bite-sized chunks. If you are interested, you can start here in the beginning. This is where it will start you if you have not created any inventory sessions. This is good stuff just to read, to get familiarized with some of the terminology that's going to be under here. We've even got a video that will walk you through the process that can kind of help you mentally land what it's going to look like and play out to do the inventory. But once you're under that, and you pass that and you're under the sessions here, this is where you'll be setting it up. So let's set up a session ourselves together so you can see what it looks like. So when I hit the plus button, it gives me a brand new session screen here. Just for the purpose of showing you how to do it, I'm going to call this one, entire collection, because that is something you can do. Because if you have a small enough catalog or library and you want to just, you're setting aside a week or two, you can blow through the whole thing all at once. Now, under inventory by, this is where you can specify how you're going to be going through the inventory process. Most folks have their library set up in some kind of call number, format layout. You can do policy as well if you have set up nice, comfortable, careful policies, reference books, you're a nonfiction, your fiction, et cetera, easy readers, whatever it might be. Everybody does it differently. Or you can choose entire collection here. Now, entire collection means what it's going to do is it's going to scale and set up the reports and the process of inventorying slightly differently. Now, if I do, fiction AAA through GZZ, when I'm scanning books, the program's going to be checking based on an order, a shelf order, based on what I've put in there. So if I scan a book that shows up as possibly needing to be, 3 books down, or it's on a different shelf, there actually will be little messages that'll pop up, and the system will check that and keep it all in memory for you so you can reference it later. And which we'll see all that here in a quick sec. You'll also want to set up these preferences here. Sorry, just getting a glass of water there, drink of water. You'll want to set these preferences here to reference what you feel is going to be best for yourselves. Again, everybody does it differently. Once you're done though, you just hit save, and then you're good to begin inventorying, which is the inventory tab here. Under inventory, this is where you'd actually walk to the shelf and you'd begin scanning. So, everybody has different setups. I don't know if you've got a scanner that's going to log it all in the scanner, or if you've got a Bluetooth scanner, so it's sending it to your computer, or if you have the computer right in front of you, which is usually easiest if you want to try to keep track of things coming in and out of order. But this will be an ongoing queue that you'll see as you scan things. So if it's going to be a smaller section than the entire collection, then anytime you scan something that's outside of that grouping, it's going to tell you that. It will inventory it, but it'll let you know it's another error. And that's just, many very possible errors that'll pop up. Now, those are we call them exceptions here. And if you have any exceptions come up, you can actually click on these different exception sections and there'll be a little report, in order of how you scan them, letting you know maybe what needs to go where, if it was out, on a wrong shelf, if it was a barcode the system didn't know, so maybe it's a book that somehow got removed from the program, whatever it is. And you can go to each one of these different line items and see that stuff, and then physically print it if you need, or get a digital copy. So once you're done though, and you've gone through and you've cleaned all that up, you can pop to the review tab here, run any of these reports. These are the reports you usually run at the end to see a summary of everything you've done for that inventory. And you can even email them if you need. And then the last step to close out the session. So this is what you do at the end when you're done doing the inventory altogether. And the system, you don't have to do this. This is just one way you can have the system kind of work for you for your benefit. once you've ensured that you know all of the items have been scanned and any that didn't show up, you've proven they physically don't exist in your library, even though Alexandria says that it thought they did. That's books that maybe got accidentally, drifted off in a backpack or, got scanned in when they shouldn't, whatever it is. You can actually tell the system to move those items because you physically proven they aren't there to a lost status. So that way it sets them to the side. And then, I don't know if you guys like to remove items immediately if you've proven they're not in the system. Some folks do, some hold on to them for a year. So that way they can try to replace them, or they've got some kind of financial, report or, log of, what, they need to have replaced, whatever it is. So everybody's kind of different. If you're not familiar with kind of what the inventory process looks like in the back end, so every time you scan a book under there, what it does is it checks to see if the item is in the program, and if it finds it, then it will attach an inventory date to that particular copy you scanned. So we're looking at 14 Cows for America here. You'll see it has its own inventory date. Each and every copy does. That means that's the last time this book was physically proven to exist in the system, i.e. you scanned it. That's really the best way to kind of physically prove that it was in the system, because you actually had the ability to scan it. So that's why you normally don't want to type out barcodes, get a report and type them. Some people try to fudge the inventory, but the whole point of the inventory is to physically prove the item is there. That way, when people go into your program and they're trying to find items, they know they're there, which that's commonplace inventory knowledge. Don't need to get into that. But that's kind of a good general flyover. It's really not much more complex than that. Where most of your work is trying to figure out how you're actually going to break it down if you are, and remembering, that. So some folks will leave their sessions open, even if they are completed, and they won't complete them, so that way they have reference of what they've already gone back and done. So, and I normally suggest to everybody who's going to be doing inventorying, start small, get a little test section, and tinker with it, run a few reports, try it out, make sure you feel really comfortable with it, because you don't want to get far down the road having inventoried a bunch and feel like you made a mistake way back in the beginning, or you're doing it a different way than what you want to do. So start with a small batch and test it first so you feel comfortable with it. So, yeah. It's pretty much that simple. Any questions? Any thoughts about that? I know I downloaded a lot of info to you.
That was a good review.
Yeah.
I think we can help our colleagues and certainly use this video to help as well. So thank you.
Oh, of course. Please, yeah. And as Chantal mentioned, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at it, but we do have that bank of videos that are on the support center. We've even got a bank of videos on YouTube. So if you've got users who use YouTube more often, they can pop there. They don't have to come to our site. And we've got a lot of good videos there. There is also that video that's included. Oops, I clicked Pardot. My bad. We also have that video right here under the intro section that folks can look at. So really a lot of this is just feeling comfortable about doing it. And so some of this is esoteric and weird. So as much kind of pre-work and reading as you can do to make yourself feel comfortable is good. And then also, like I said, doing a little section in the beginning, a little test section. So that way you're not getting far down the road and being upset because you goofed on something. Well, cool. Any other topics or things that you feel folks would be benefited by reviewing or looking at?
I have custody, Allie, and I think that Megan's already left.
Yeah, I think. But I guess I'll let you go, Kay. But I think diversity has become a really big topic in our region, and I just was wondering if you had any capacity or what is the best practice for doing a diversity audit in Alexandria?
Well, it kind of depends on what exactly you guys. I mean, I've had a number of conversations with folks around diversity audits. I would say first and foremost, do research. So outside of Alexandria, look at what other libraries have done, do some Googling on it, try to get a good solid idea of what you think will meet your guys' specific group needs. Then when you have a good kind of solid baseline knowledge of what you think you're wanting to roll out with, then take that into the Alexandria sphere. Normally that's going to be alterations to your subjects, possibly to genre, a few genres, maybe policies, but less likely policies. It's probably going to be subjects or genre. And then really it's weeding out terms that don't, meet what would be, the diversity needs, and then adding terms that do. And so a lot of that's kind of, line by line. It can be a bit of work. And luckily, we've got a lot of stuff in Alexandria that meets a little bit of a quicker analysis process, if you will. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at our authority control interface, but authority control gives you the ability to look at terms all in all. So here's a list of all of these genre terms in our demo database. Yours will look the same. Obviously, there'll be your own terms, and you can come through and you can go, oh, this particular term does not meet what I'm going for to have a more, friendly, diverse facing collection. You can actually pop under here, choose to edit the term using this button, change the term to whatever would be more diverse friendly, and or remove it altogether or merge it with another group. But a lot of it's kind of like that. It's going for one by line. If genre or subjects won't meet because you guys are trying to do things differently, then you do have a few other fields that you can add additional information in. So you could add stuff in copy location or shelving if it's a copy specific need. So there's options, but it's still a very new concept. So
I would say if there's a lot of editing that needs to be done, another service through MightyNet that I didn't mention was Bestmark. I kind of lightly touched on it, but Bestmark is going to be more global editing. So if you wanted to change all of your genres and standardize them, subject headings, that's more of a global edit, which can be done easier versus going line through a line.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I mean, as Jess and Chantal mentioned, Bestmark is a little bit newer to us, but yeah, if you are interested, it is actually really surprising all the tools they put at your fingertips, almost in a way that you wouldn't be able to get with any other program out there, because it's very complex. They've given you the ability to analyze your MARC records, analyze trends, key terms, recognize them, adjust them. You can put in scripting for it. You can even have like saved processes for different vendors, because different vendors have different terms unique to them or different whatever. So it's pretty cool. So it's definitely, I would say, something, if you guys are doing a major undertaking like that, consider that as an additional tool for yourselves. You may find it very helpful. I don't know, hopefully that's helpful. That kind of touch on all the points you were hoping to learn more about as far as, considering a change like that.
Yeah, and I think it's, it's something that we talked about here, in the fact that there's no service that's going to just take all your records and kind of see what ISBN is related to own voice authors or that kind of thing. It's more, you have to touch a lot of records to get into it, and I don't think there's any really easy way to do it other than, but I guess, so that genre that you were editing, genres in the authority file, are you able to edit subject terms in the authority file as well?
Yeah, so subjects you'll see at the bottom option here.
Okay.
And if you're interested, once we're done here, pop under here and just kind of walk through and familiarize yourself with some of these drop downs. That'll give you a better idea of what you guys can change, what you can manipulate. But yeah, subjects are the same way. So, but you are right. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the environment, the way it is, we're going to get more people trying to do things like this, and things will change. It'll make it easier. But yeah, right now it is a little bit more kind of line item by line item changing. It's a bit of work. It's a project. So.
And this is my lack of familiarity with Alex coming in. Is there any way that we could, let's say, if a person went through and they found a bunch of Own Voices books and they scanned all those barcodes, could they add an Own Voice subject tag to all those items fairly easily through a group edit outside of Bestmark?
Yes. Definitely. If you're going to be doing something like that, I may even suggest looking at working with exports. Exports give you the ability to pull raw data out of the program in a quick and easy way, throw it in a spreadsheet, and then, just do spreadsheet modifications, which can make it so much easier. So I could pop under items here, choose a copy information based export, and then you have a copies with barcodes list. You could come under here and just scan a book. It takes you to the next line, does a carriage return, scan it, scan it, scan it, get a nice list of barcodes, run it, that'll pull all that data out of the system, and then you can tweak and alter any of that data. And it may look like it's a few extra steps, but once you get familiar with it, you find it's a pretty quick process. And that might be the best way to go, I would think. And that's kind of what we have those exports for, is because sometimes there's just, there's weird changes you got to make and the program just can't accommodate it because it's different. So yeah. Any help that you need with any of these like small semantic processes to get something done? So if you're feeling like you're not, you need some assistance or a walkthrough with these exports, for example, hit our support team up. They can walk you through. Just say, hey, I'm trying to do an export of this. Can you give me some assistance? And they can answer any extra additional questions you do have. So
Awesome.
yeah, but that's another good, helpful, powerful tool is those exports if you're looking to data manipulate.
So Allie, just in terms of tracking, working with Allie on Alexandria is new to us. So would we, if we contact support at a building level, you don't need to know that. We don't need to track that or anything, do we?
From an SLS point of view, no. I think I always like to be CC'd on stuff like that, just so I can see the solution in case somebody else has a similar question. I can help relay that information. But yeah, I mean, I think it's totally fine for you to continue to approach them at an individual level.
So yeah, because I don't want to overwhelm you with the stuff that we, on a day-to-day basis that we might contact them with. I just was wondering how our relationship would work. Maybe we come up with some way of just posting, if you learn something that's new or different that we need to share. We'll have to think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's, and again, Rachel and Jen are on the phone too, and if you guys are having something funky happen and they might do, I think it's the same with all automation systems that we support, that it would be nice to have kind of an open line of like, this is a great new thing that we learned how to do and it's really working for us, or
right.
So
my buses are lined up. I gotta go.
okay, bye Kay. Thank you.
Yeah, and you guys get you guys a listserv or something, or some kind of like, blog space or something like that.
Yeah, we have like a listserv for the entire region, but I think it makes sense. And everybody gets a little whiny when we post like automation specific things on there because we're cluttering inboxes and whatnot.
Sure.
I think maybe it makes sense for us to start a few more, or even a Google group. Because a lot of our schools are Google groups, and
yeah,
that would work too, to kind of have that collaborative space. I think that was, I used to be in the public library and supporting Polaris, and that was one of my favorite things about the system, was this really awesome community of other users across the country. So you have anything like that, like a forum or a community for Alex users, or do they just kind of organically happen on Facebook or something?
Yeah, social media works to a degree. We do have an Alex listserv. Nothing in program per se. We have like a bulletin board where you can share information, and that can be externally facing for everyone, students, staff, whatever, or it can just be internally facing. It's up to you guys. So, but yeah, that's the only thing we really have in program is probably that bulletin board, I would say.
Okay.
But yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. I hope all this was helpful for you guys.
Totally.
Good. Yeah. Anything else you think that we could comment on or talk about real fast? I know we're getting close to the end of time for you.
Rachel, did you have anything that you were thinking about?
I didn't really come prepared with questions. I mean, I've just been figuring things out, but every time I've called Companion for help with little projects, they've always been really great walking me through. Like I changed all my 741.5s to graphic novels, and someone just helped me through to make sure I didn't, botch the whole catalog in the process or something.
Well, good. We're glad they were helpful.
But I think something like that where we could even maybe post those successes, I just figured out I wanted to change some genres and tweak them. And so you feel this success, like I figured it out, but I also would like to know too, like maybe there was an easier way to do it, or was there a problem with the way I did it? So just having a place to share as we learn more, and especially with a new system coming out, within our BOCES would be helpful too.
Yeah, I think that totally makes sense. So let me talk with Doreen about what platform she would like to use, and I'll go from there.
That's great. I think it's a great idea.
Yes, thank you guys.
Perfect. All right, you guys. Well, we know that it's almost the end of the day for you guys. Not us. We're only at 1 o'clock, so we're just midway through our day. Poor us. But if you guys need anything else